We're not going to talk about styling today. The only thing we're going to be worrying about is pine candle management. There's something you really need to know. Whether it be your Japanese white pine, young, or indeed old and ramified, your Scots pine, again mature, or indeed developing stock. Big difference. Your Mugo pine, of which you know I've got two that desperately need a bit of candle management, or indeed your Japanese black pine, whether it be a bit further along or indeed still only 2 or 3 years from seed. In fact, whichever pine it is you have, I will be concentrating on that big number one difference between dealing with a fully ramified finished pine bonsai versus a tree that has a long way to go, potentially a lot more branch development to happen. But first of all, I want you to ask yourself that one big important question you must always ask before you start looking at these pines. Hi, it's Xavier, and welcome to my bonsai retreat. And straight to it, it's the very same question that you should be asking every single time you pick up your pruners, every time you pick up a saw or anything. What am I trying to achieve? And it's exactly the same for pine candle management. In fact, I'm going to be so bold as to say I actually, over the last 3 to 4 years, recognise that developing pine is actually very simple. Really, you're only trying to do 2 forms of growth. You're either doing developmental growth, either to ramify existing structure, or indeed to build the initial structure, in the case of pines, through back budding. The only other thing you're trying to achieve is to either control the growth and the ramification you've already got, i.e. you've got a fully ramified bonsai, or like this Japanese white pine here. And what I have done off camera is I've just dug into the soil, loosened it up because it was getting a bit compacted, so that water will be able to flow in and continue to provide much needed water for this tree. White pines, they don't need loads of water. In fact, right now it's going to be another heat wave. They love sun. Keep them out in the sun. Don't overwater them. I water this probably every 2nd to 3rd day. When I do, I soak it. So what am I going to do with this? I'm not developing anything except one area. And that's looking in closer here, where we've got little bud there, little buds there. And again here, these buds were growing from last year. Here, little buds. So why is that so important for what is an elderly finished tree? Well, simply, no matter how much I prune these candles, which you're going to see me do in a minute, it is still going to ramify and slowly extend further and further out. Which is why we need always to be looking at building for the future. So with a fully ramified tree, be careful. You want to look out for those little buds, because the pruning I'm going to do now is actually going to help redistribute energy to those buds, which is what I need for the future health and development of this bonsai. And actually, without being too serious, just talking about health of the tree, I have indicated in a previous video that there may be just a few health issues on the horizon for me. It's going to affect my filming. If you want to hear more about that, I'm going to leave that to the end of the video. For those who aren't interested, you'll be able to see everything you need right now. So in essence, in this instance, what I'm trying to achieve is I don't want the growth to extend too far out. In other words, I don't want any of these candles, which are now just about to spread out their needles, to go and grow and grow. So I'm going to be pruning them back to just a few needle pairs. Now, a big tip about Japanese white pine. There are many people who will prune in early spring or through April, May as these candles extend, and they'll just pinch the candles off. I don't, because what I don't want is the secondary needles that haven't rolled to actually extend and grow too big, which is a risk that can happen. I wait until the sheaths have dropped from this area here, which is like a rice paper. They've dropped in this instance. This is the new growth, and these are all the new needle pairs. And what I will do is following that new growth up. I'll count them 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will go in and just cut off top 2/3. So what's left is 1, 2, there's probably about 6 needle pairs there. And again, the same thing right up here. We've got new candles that have opened up with multiple needle pairs on them, and I'm just going to get in there and remove all that. Make sure you've got a sharp, narrow pair of shears, certainly something here that I would use for my maples. And you just go around, and the one thing I say, make sure you leave, in my instance, I normally leave at least 4 to 5 new needle pairs. What that will do is encourage the dormant buds that are situated at the base of these needle pairs to actually send out the new buds for next year from there. Also means is that looking further back where I had those small shoots which have been developing over the last year, energy will be directed back there as well. Hopefully, as we always want to do, bringing new growth in closer in the structure. And for those of you crying out, yeah, but I want to get new back budding, how do I get that? Well, the answer's simple. Just let the branch grow out. You let that branch grow out, and so long you've got some needles on the branch, it helps, then you will hopefully get new buds coming from those points. Sometimes you will get a new bud pop up from bare wood, but it's not something I'd rely on. Now, along your way, while you're actually doing this, you are going to come across some of your old branches which have got no existing buds on them, and they are really, in this case, just waiting to die. There's not going to be anything new that's coming from them. So if there's no bud point on it that's extended, the only thing you really can do is remove it. For those that are worried that the Japanese white pine appears particularly yellow or anything like that, and you're not getting that really deep green, do remember, if you've got a Japanese white pine that's on its existing rootstock, then they are yellower. I'm here at Greenwoods with a very, very healthy specimen of Japanese white pine, and you definitely see that yellow hue. And again, perfectly healthy tree. So I definitely confirm, don't worry about it. Now in this nursery stock Japanese white pine, you know, repotted it last year into this pond basket, wired it up to try and put a little bit of movement into what was a very straight trunk. What am I trying to achieve? Well, this was to try and establish just a little bit more of a thicker trunk, and also what I was looking for, more growth through there. By thickening that, it means hopefully when I take this wire off in a minute, it's going to hold that shape. So what exactly am I trying to achieve with the rest of this? I want back budding. I look in closer, and although we've got nice, healthy green growth, what I'm not seeing, and what I need for a tree that's only going to be this big, is back budding closer in. The only way I'm going to drive back budding, push the growth out, leave needles on, and see what pops up. But I can do one thing straight away. This sacrifice branch has most definitely served its purpose. In fact, there is only one thing I will do. Where I've got cartwheels forming, and if we have a look in here, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have to basically leave that down until, well, we've just got 2. So I'm going to take the center one out. Probably go for the ones that are going to be easiest to wire. So I'm going to take that one. Probably take that one. That just leaves these 2. And now I just need these to continue to grow. And again, we've got lots of needles here. Hopefully back budding in closer in once we get that extra growth. So in this case, for this developing Japanese white pine, I've removed the sacrifice branch. It was no longer needed. I've removed the wire, and I've just got rid of all the potential problem points. In terms of the actual tips and shoots, I'm going to let them grow right through this year, because I want to see if I can get some back budding further down, or at least closer in on these existing shoots. There's probably a few of you saying, Zav, aren't you going to put some wire and style it? I'll say again, right now, in the middle of summer, for me, is the most vulnerable time for putting wire or even actually removing wire. You need to be careful because this bark will separate very, very easily from the cambium because there's such an increased sap flow. So all my styling for all my pines and indeed my junipers is going to happen the end of summer moving into autumn. So probably a good point. We're going to be doing the Mugo next, but if you want to see the sort of styling that's going to take place and the response that this work has had on this one and indeed the older pine, then make sure to hit bell notifications, subscribe. It really helps my channel, and right now I'm sure they've throttled me right back because my views have dropped by 50%. Could be because I'm just rubbish, but I don't think that's the case. And if you're feeling really generous, go back and watch the last 3 or 4 videos. Help me and I'll be a big thumbs up for that. This isn't going to surprise you, but the process and application is exactly the same. For a finished Mugo pine, you would do the same thing. You would just be controlling and checking the growth and then looking for future growth in the tree to sustain it and take it forward. This is still developing. This is part of my Nursery to Bonsai series for Mugo Pine. I use this to demonstrate how to get back budding. I also used, in fact, look in the playlist for pines, you'll find it. I also use this to demonstrate that actually the best time to be doing your initial repots on these is in the late summer time. Both of these are repotted then, and as you can see, I think they are looking really, really green, really, really healthy. Now for me, I've actually finished what I would consider the developmental, i.e. trying to grow it any thicker or anything like that. I've got the branches. What I'm really looking to do is to ramify these ones a lot closer in. And to do that, all I need to do is just prune back the growing tips. Again, follow my candle out. This is the growth we've had. All the way there looks like the new growth, so I'm going to actually take it all the way back to there. Same to there. I'm shortening basically all of these because that will mean that energy will go, there's a bud there. There's also a bud on the other side and this smaller one, so I'm going to shorten this one, shorten this one, and basically push them all down. See if we can get closer new buds to come up, tighter ramification where we can get it. This on this Mugo pine, I cut here and already we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shoots have appeared. When I cut it, in fact 6, when I cut it there was just this one here. So bearing in mind there's those 5, I probably need to reduce a few of them. 1, 2, may well have the third one there as well, but I'll let this one go and see which one comes stronger. But as I say, this is a really good response. It shows it's healthy. And just to see up close why I'm able to cut, so if you look in there, you can see there's buds there, there. And I'll say now, often you'll see me work on a tree and then you don't see it for ages, and every now and then I'll get someone who writes a comment and says, oh, that one's probably dead, can I have an update? I think that happened with the olives. And the truth is, simply I'm a great one because I've got so many trees. I like to let trees go for a year, especially if I've done some major work on them. They don't respond straight away. They don't give you that joy that you want immediately. And the risk is if you're chasing a result on a tree, you may actually overwork it, and it always works against what you're trying to achieve. This one has got a lovely, lovely trunk line, and you'd probably think, hey, that's probably your front. Well, actually, it's not. Let's get a bit closer. I actually see a front the other way round with this tilted up a bit. Lovely thick trunk coming up and then coming round, looking at pulling those branches down, this one down, probably thinning this out and bringing this down. So again, going back to the original premise, what am I trying to achieve? Well, I don't need great big long growth here. This branch is going to be removed, but I tell you what, wouldn't it be good to see what happened if I cut it all the way back here, which is probably to the 3rd year needles, and find out whether we get some back budding on the 3rd year needles. That's got to be worth staying around and seeing later in the year. Plans for this, just so you know, this is probably going to have these branches brought in a lot tighter, bring this down tighter, and bring this in a lot more like this. And the whole idea is I want it to be very much as though it's been snow covered. May end up eventually being a literati, to be fair, but that's my intention with that. So all I'm going to do is, do I need to go any thickening? Do I need to do any healing? No. Am I happy with the branches that I've got? Yes. What do I need? Back budding and ramification. Choice of either cutting the existing candles, and this year's growth, you can tell from the coloration, that's last year's growth. It's slightly darker brown. This has got a fresher colour. If I want to promote buds from needles at the top here, I cut that off, then I will get buds being activated, dormant buds from the base of the new needles. But indeed, this is quite a long growth. If I want to try and get something from the older needles, I can actually go back to the second year growth and cut all of this year's growth off. This was actually an example of what happens. This was pinched earlier this year, and to balance energy in already, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buds coming from it. I'm actually going to take it even further, cut all those off, and see if we can get some buds coming from back here. So I'm going to keep doing this, and for anyone who says I don't believe you, there's actually a video that I did showing this happening. I did it last year with the results, so there it is right there. Have a look straight away and see exactly what results you should get with your Scots Pine. One thing I actually meant to say is when you've got a tree that's developing and you know for a fact that there's a branch you don't want, like this one here. The only reason I would want this growth here is if I was going to remove everything from here and rebuild a new tree. Well, no, I'm not doing that. I'll just cut the ends off there, take that off. And by the way, if anyone's asked, no, I've never ever had any success, or know of anyone else who's had success taking cuttings from pine. Let me know in the comments if you know someone who's achieved it. So that's going to be removed, and the same thing's going to happen with this. Branches brought down, branches brought down, down and around. Same thing, I'll probably want to reduce the apex on this one, and same thing, I might even bring this right down around like this. So same thing, I don't need to get any extra growth anywhere else. All I'm going to do is to look to cut back the existing new shoots just to 2 or 3 needle pairs, or indeed go back in to second year needle pairs. Now what we've got here is the closest I've got to probably a more finished tree, in the sense that although it's not on the pod I want, it's got the primary trunk line, it's got pretty well the tertiary branches that I want. It's an odd looking tree, and if you want to know more about this, there's something in the playlist. It's something that I worked out with Kenneth de Bond of KDB Bonsai when we were looking what to do with a really leggy awkward Scots Pine. Whatever the design choices are, I think, actually I already think I know one thing I'm going to do straight away, and that is to just shorten that deadwood a little bit. Now I've got the fronts somewhere in here. I've been looking to grow all these little shoots here, but at the moment they're longer. What I want to achieve, I want to shorten all this year's growth with a view to getting 2 more buds, tighter ramification that's going to allow me to build, well, I'm not sure, I think it'll build a nice little something or other here. This has got to be wide in place. I've got a nice shoot here, so I will probably, with that in mind, cut that one right back, cut that one right back. Again, looking to put back budding further in. This year's needles, this year's shoot, and I would imagine I will later on wire that up. Got a lot of ramification already building here on this side, and it may well be that I'll end up going a literati on this side. Potentially there might be a front somewhere in here, but for now all I'm going to do is shorten these long shoots right back to try and drive back budding in a lot closer. And for this one, that's all I'm going to do. terms of repotting, I can actually repot these at the latter end. So when I'm doing the wiring, I may well find a nice unglazed brown pot for it as well. So if you want to see that in a new pot for the first time in probably 4 years, you know what you need to do. Now, up to now, I actually haven't done anything on my channel about Japanese black pine. I've just been growing on Tony's seedlings, and indeed trying to do something with the one that Jason kindly sent me as a gift, which is right here. We'll take 2 year seedlings. The seedlings I got from Yellow, of Growing Bonsai, and maybe just another one, which is one of Tony's Japanese black pine seedlings. By the way, I'm rabbit sitting for my my daughter. This is Will Zita's rabbit, just here. And the trouble is, it's on heat, so it's a right vicious monster, aren't you? Yeah. And you've been digging in the grass. I haven't stopped you making that noise at me. Don't you make that noise at me. I can see you. You are vicious at the moment, aren't you? Okay, and we need to fill that hole in if you let me. So as I said, what we've got here are 3 different black pines, and probably 3 different species as well. When I say species, you could have the Austrian black pine, you could have the other black pine, and the other black pine after that. But seriously, I've never talked about black pine, mainly because I always like to talk about stuff that I have direct experience of. We can sit there and look all day long on ChatGPT, but you know, I checked ChatGPT for a 5-needle pine, and it came up with a Scots pine, and when I asked for a 2-needle pine, it listed a Japanese white pine. So it's great getting your information from there, but be careful when you start talking about stuff and using GPT for information. If you like my channel, you'll know it's because I only ever talk about stuff that I've got direct experience of. Now, I've had these Japanese black pines, starting off with this one, which was indeed a one of several that was donated to me by Tony when I went to his bash before his death, God rest his soul. And this has just been allowed to grow. It's still young, it's still got a lot of development to do, and really all I want to make sure I do is where I've got situations down here, I've got 3 coming from the same point, I just need to reduce that and remove one of them. Same here, we've got 3 at the top, but ultimately I need this to grow, you know, 1, 2, 3 feet. Let this leader grow out with the idea that this is eventually going to be a little marmee, maybe a show-in, all based down at this height here. I'm going to remove this one here, and then as we move further up, we've got 1, 2, 3 cartwheel there of 4. I want to keep the main leader. This is where it will continue to throw the strength, so I'm going to ignore that. That will be a sacrifice, but I definitely do need to remove at least one of these and remove it. And these 2 are going to be the ones that take over eventually, but this right now is going to be allowed to grow. Equally, if we look at this, these 2 here are Austrian black pine, and they were part of a group of seedlings that Yellow sent to me in late 2022. All I need to do really is again get some wire on them, again to create that tight curl. Clean up, get rid of all the dead needles, and this one again, same thing. So I'm not going to do any candle pruning at all on these. And if anyone's got this sort of age, probably I wouldn't be recommending you do any sort of candle pruning. You're still looking at wiring or development. Whereas this one, though this is a pretty ugly looking trunk, gnarly, I am going to look at trying to pull it even tighter round, but I can demonstrate the 2 types of pruning on this one. And you'll have heard this with the Japanese black pine, that it can actually give you a second flush. From my experience in this country, we just don't get the humidity and the hot weather that we need for it. But this is one of the rare pines that you can actually do one of 2 things. You could either go back to, say, we've got a couple of needle pairs there, cut back to there, like you would do with the other pines. That would then cause buds that are at the base of those needles to activate, and we'll get dormant buds growing for later in the year. Or indeed, you can actually remove the entire new growth at the base, and that will also encourage new buds to develop from there. So basically you're looking to get from the place where you've got one, you'll get multiple buds, but a lot closer in lower in, and that would be when you're really trying to ramify a branch. We look at this one here, same thing. This is the new growth, and I'm going to cut all the way back to there, cut that off. Same here, the new growth, you can see this is where the candle extended from, so I'm going to cut it right back. And we'll see how those develop. And actually, probably the most important thing you need to be doing once you've finished working on your pines, they're a very sappy species, a bit like me, is you need to clean your blades and your shears, because that sap will destroy these lovely expensive tools if you don't clean it off. Right now that's a sticky, horrible gunk. Don't leave it. Either use an appropriate alcohol wiping solution, or indeed in this case I'm going to use some camellia oil to wipe it out, and a clean cloth. As you know, I get camellia oil courtesy of Adam of Notion Bonsai. He does actually send this to me free of charge, so I'm really grateful to him for that. But you do need to make sure you get rid of all that gummy, gunky stuff. Also, to help, I just use a little sanding block. It's a little flexible 80 grit, and again, just to make sure you get rid of anything that's potentially going to really muck up those tools. And while I'm doing the rest of these tools, let's skip on down to the bottom of the garden where I've got my dawn redwoods, and I'm going to talk to you about something that may affect future videos on this channel. Right now I'm spending a lot of time studying them to see if I can find the 3 things you need, and I'll remind you of those 3 things in a minute. But I did say I was going to talk about something important and close to me. There are a few health things that may or may not turn out to be serious. Done a round of tests, done MRIs. End result is right now I really struggle with tiredness right through the day. I have good days and bad days. As a result of that, there may be unexpected absences, and all I'd ask is that if you don't see a video from me, don't worry. I will tell you if there's any problems that I need you to know about. But as a favour and to help my channel continue, because I do love working with this community, then go back and have a look over the recent videos that perhaps haven't had the view counts that I'd like. That's how you can support me. That's how you can keep me going. And you know, the health thing, hopefully things will all work out. I just need to change my diet. But in the meantime, you need to be keeping an eye on your dawn redwoods. 3 things. We're looking for bifurcation. We're looking for that red rust shoots. And most importantly, we're looking for the sign of new buds. Because if you have a look at that video, that'll show you exactly what you need to be doing. Otherwise, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.